On this anniversary of September 11th, the developer who is rebuilding downtown New York City, Larry Silverstein, spoke with me about the process.
The important thing is to recognize what happened to us at 9/11. Think of the massive losses, the impact on the lives of so many people who lost their loved ones, and how we sort of pulled ourselves together after that, came back determined to rebuild bigger and better than it was before. And here we are in 2015, and it's obvious that this process is well underway and moving toward a conclusion. And by 2020, we expect to be out of here. We expect to be finished.
Larry, you are a businessman, but you have also been working with these architects, starchitects, some people call them.
That's true.
How do you work with them to make sure that the tradition of downtown is respected while still helping them to build something modern and exciting and, let's face it, practical? Because as beautiful as all these buildings are, people still have to work in them. You still have to have tenants, and they have to be practical use spaces.
And efficient spaces, and effective for their needs. And so, interestingly enough, the buildings that you see here today are buildings that we designed over a decade ago, right? So what you have as a result of it is an architectural language that's reflective.
As a New Yorker, where do you see the next signs of life, neighborhood, business, residential?
The first thing I have to note is how everything we're doing here at the Trade Center site is affecting the neighborhood immediately surrounding it. Because today, we have twice as many families. We have 60,000 families living down here. That didn't exist 14 years ago, right? Today, we're on just about ready to receive 850,000 square feet of first-class destination retail in the base of our buildings, 500,000 square feet in the base of our buildings, including the PATH terminal, plus another 350,000 feet of retail coming to Brookfield Place. So what you have is a neighborhood in incredible transition. And as you look around, you see people, young people, you see baby carriages. My daughter and her young family, they're here, and they say, Dad, you can't appreciate the transformation that's happened in this place. So first you look at the boroughs. Manhattan, is Manhattan on fire? I would say Manhattan is on fire because there's so much activity surrounding real estate, surrounding real property, surrounding buildings that could be built for condominium usage. So the activity in that level is incredible. But it's no less incredible when you move to Brooklyn, or you move to Staten Island, or you move to the Bronx, or you move to Queens. It's a phenomena that is reflecting several things. Number one, the desire of people to come from the suburbs back to the city, and they're doing that increasingly. It's also reflective of another trend, and that is there is enormous global wealth that's been created. That global wealth is increasingly finding its way to the city of New York to invest in the city, to invest in hard assets, which is, by definition, real estate, right?
I saw something like $75 billion worth of land or property will be sold in 2015 alone.
And I'd say the bulk of that are luxury condos that are being built all over the city, right? Not just in Manhattan, but Brooklyn, and slowly but surely the other boroughs are following suit.
How do you see the skyline changing?
I think what you're looking at is the constant evolution of the skyline of New York. That never stops changing. It never stops. And that's the wonderful thing about New York. It's constantly in flow. It's constantly in evolution. It's constantly rebuilding itself. And I tell you, I only wish I can come back 100 years from now to see what else is going on here.
We've been speaking about these hot spots from around the world, and presumably the reason that some of that foreign money wants to come here is because New York seems a lot more stable by comparison.
It is.
Especially Greece is in turmoil. We have China, growth looking shaky. What is the #1 challenge to New York business community?
I think one of the first things we need is continued rebuilding of our infrastructure. it is not in good shape. It's terribly old. It needs to be updated. And so, for example, you had this discussion about the tunnels between New York and New Jersey. Those desperately need to be rebuilt. They've got to be done. And the truth of the matter is they were outmoded 30 years ago.
How do you see the U.S., a very big picture question, compared to the rest of the world?
You know, you hear people constantly talking about the United States in negative terms. You hear the political leaders seeking the Republican nomination, criticizing the country, criticizing where we're going. I think that negativism is appalling. I look at our country and I'm extremely proud to be an American, number one. I'm proud of our military. I'm proud of what they do. I'm proud of the people who protect us, who give their lives to us, incredibly so. But we are so fortunate as Americans to be able to function as we function with our lives and to be able to project human rights and other values around the globe. And so I look at this, I look at us with tremendous pride, and I say, thank God for this country. The fact of the matter is just, why don't we build a bus terminal instead? I said, look, I can't help you about bus terminals. I don't know about bus terminals. The only thing I know is that I've been working for 13 years with the Port Authority to build the Trade Center, to get it finished, to get it done. To stop now would be the dumbest thing we could possibly do in my humble estimation. You want to get this built as quickly as it possibly can, get it finished. We've been at it 13 years. The time is now. Let's get the damn thing done and go on with our lives. We don't have ground leases. This entire transaction is predicated on 90. No, they have there's something else there. Nothing like what we've got here. It's a totally different set of circumstances. Something there with the MTA, but there's nothing as extensive as this one.
I see in the media and in the public, and that's often brought up, of the fact that you don't have a lot of your own money invested in the World Trade Center site. Even Mayor Bloomberg at one point said Larry doesn't have a lot of his own skin in the game. Is that true, that allegation?
When 9/11 happened, we suddenly faced ourselves with a massive need for capital with which to rebuild the buildings. Right? Capital can only come from one source, insurance company proceeds, right? So we launched, a 5-year effort to collect multiple billions of dollars from 22 insurance companies who didn't want to pay a dime, not one dime. Right? So we had to sue them, we had to litigate with them, and it took 5 years. We got the $4.5 billion, 3 of it we gave to the Port Authority. Haven't I earned my keep? Haven't I earned my piece at this point? Honestly, no. My focus is on getting 3 built, and then getting 2 built, getting it finished. And when I'm done, then I'm done. I have 2 more buildings to build here at the Trade Center. I certainly hope so. I expect to. I really expect to. I really want to. So if anything's motivating me to keep going, that is, I really want to accomplish this.